Hey everyone, I'm MrAyrit, and I've been testing a lot of closed back headphones lately, and I finally landed on the one that I think I'm gonna keep for myself. Those are the Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros. I've got the 250 ohm version. Now, most of the closed backs I've been testing come in at under $100, and that was really my goal. I was able to pick these up though for $120 open box on eBay, and they were like new condition. So I thought 120, that's close enough to what I was shooting for to give them a shot. And boy, I'm glad I did, because I really think these are something special, especially when I compare them to the under $100 closed backs. These just really stood out to me, and we're gonna get into why that is. So I'm going to fix my piece of foam that's fallen down right there, and then we're gonna get right into it. All right, that's much better. Okay, so now on to build quality. On to build quality with the DT770s. Now, you've probably seen these headphones before. If you've done any sort of research, asked on any forums, closed backs to get, DT770s are always at the top of the list. There's a reason for that, okay? The build quality of these is phenomenal. Not really, the materials aren't really super high end, but it's just sturdy. It's a tank, it's a workhorse, right? These headphones have been in production for almost 40 years now, basically unchanged. So what are you getting with that? Well, you're getting a metal band, metal yokes that hold the cups, and underneath of this, everything on this headphone is replaceable, modular. So something breaks, you can fix it. You can get a part for it. So there's the metal band under kind of the nice padding pleather that's on that headband there. Feels really good as far as pleather goes. Very, very sturdy. The cups are plastic, and they kind of have this interesting faux leather grain on them, and that combined with the white font on there just looks a little retro to me, and I just really appreciate that they've kept these headphones looking retro and kind of stuck to their roots with these. I think it's kind of a timeless design myself, and still looks good today. They do have some different versions, like blacked out versions and things like that if you're into that, so you might want to check those out too. But like I said, I've got the kind of the basic, I've got the standard recommendation 250 ohm version here. That means one of the big knocks that this headphone has is it does have an attached cable. However, it's a pretty nice cable as far as that goes. It's coiled, it's maybe 3-4 feet long as is, and then it could stretch out to 6 or 8 feet. So really, I like the cable quite a bit. It's got kind of your standard 3.5 millimeter termination, screw on, 1/4 inch, pretty standard affair there. One thing that is really a notable feature of these headphones, and that I'm sure you've noticed if you've looked at Beyerdynamics, is they've got these silver velour pads that are circular instead of ovals, and it's kind of like a trademark of the brand, honestly. And there's good reason for that. They're super comfortable. They're just the right amount of stiffness. They can be washed if you need to wash them, if they're getting grungy. And yeah, I really like the pads on these. Really like the pads on these. So you notice these are pretty well clamped together here as I'm just kind of holding them. And they do have a pretty solid clamp to them. See, if I put them on my head, they've got what I consider to be just the right amount of clamp. So any more, and I think it'd be a bit much, but as is, I think it's really good, feels really solid, really confident that those are gonna stay on your head. They're not gonna go flying off or anything like that. So the clamp, the pads, they're just I find them to be a really comfortable, sturdy, well-made headphone. So these DT770s, like if anybody knocks them, they usually knock them for treble, saying that their treble is like a little bit harsh or overdone, and it is elevated. And they kind of have just like a V signature in general, but to my ear, I think it all sounds really good. Even though, it's got that V to it, treble has, treble is a little emphasized, but it's done in a way that it never rubs me the wrong way. And a lot of headphones that have, an elevated treble, like to me, they sound a little artificial. They, instruments and vocals can get kind of an edge on them, too much sparkle, and it wears on me. That's not the case with the DT770s. So I think the treble is nice. I think it is kind of boosted and energetic. I think it reveals quite a bit of detail. So all in all, treble is okay in my book. It is elevated, so maybe if you're really, sensitive to that, they might not be for you. But for me, I like it. I find it pretty engaging. And that's kind of the same with the bass too, where it is boosted, but it's not overdone. So it's never like overpowering, and it's always really well separated from the mids and the vocals. So the bass, I think, has a nice impact to it. It's not a crazy amount of impact, but it's there. And you do get some good sub bass rumble with it. I find it's got a nice controlled texture to it. Really enjoy the bass on these headphones. And so with that V shape, it seems like in a lot of headphones you can kind of lose the vocals, or the vocals get colored weird with it, or the mids just sound a little off because they're being influenced by those other those other frequencies being boosted and whatnot. I don't find that to be the case with these. I think that vocals sound natural, they sound energetic, they've got a nice body to them. I think strings and piano also sound really good on these. And I think all that comes down to is what these headphones really stand out with, in my opinion, is imaging, separation, and soundstage. Because a lot of times for closed back headphones, especially the ones under $100 that I've tried, I don't feel like they do very good at those things. Whereas these, I think, really are something special in a closed back to get the level of imaging and instrument separation and the amount of soundstage that you do with the DT770s. I think they're really good in that regard. And if you've never heard a headphone do that stuff really well, it's pretty impressive to hear, to be honest with you, and I think it'll kind of blow your mind a little bit. So all the frequencies are really well separated. Every instrument, has its place. You really feel like when you're listening to music in these, you really feel like you can kind of pick out all those different pieces, and that makes it really fun and engaging headphone to listen to. At the same time, that also makes it a really good gaming headphone too. So, like I said, one of the probably the best closed back soundstage I've heard, not that I've tried any real high-end closed back headphones, but really nice soundstage for a closed back headphone, especially in this price range. And because of the good imaging and separation, it's easy to pick out those audio cues when you're gaming, gunshots, footsteps, those types of things. Really easy to pick out with the DT770. So it's a really good closed back gaming headphone. Now the only thing that you might be concerned about is there's no microphone on this. So if you absolutely have to have a microphone and you only want to spend about $100, then I would probably nudge you towards the Cooler Master MH751, which I reviewed a little while ago. So check that link out if you want. That's a super comfortable headphone. It does okay soundstage imaging, but it didn't sound as exciting to me as the Beyers do. So I would still recommend them if you're going to use an external mic, or even if you want to get something like a mod mic that you could stick on the side of it or something like that. I like the Beyers a lot more than I like the Cooler Masters. But the Cooler Masters were super comfortable though, so it all depends on what you're going for. Now, another headphone that I'll mention is if you're a bass head, you might look at the Audio-Technica ATH M40Xs. I recently reviewed those as well. And while I didn't really like those headphones a lot, they do, if you like bass, those might be the ones for you. They did have a lot more bass quantity than either the Cooler Masters or the Beyers here. Getting back to the job at hand though. Let's talk power requirements for a minute, because that might be a question in your mind when you're talking about the Beyerdynamics, because they come in several different variations, and that can be a little confusing. Like I said, I've got the 250 ohm, but there's also a 32 ohm, an 80 ohm, and a 600 ohm. And from what I understand, I've only heard the 250s. From what I understand, they all are going to have a similar sound signature. These ones are overall the most highly recommended version of that. But the 32 or the 80 should be easy to drive. So if you're just going to be using it out of, like, say, a game controller or just out of a mobile device, you might look at one of those lower ohm versions. The other thing to know is that when you get those other versions, they come with like different cables, and you know, some of them are blacked out and different pads. Some of them have like pleather pads. So you just got to do your research before you buy. But I have the 250s, I like them. I can drive them out of my computer or my phone to perfectly fine listening levels, and I still found that I had good separation and soundstage with that. Of course, that gets better if you pair them with an amp, like the Liquid Spark or something along those lines. But still perfectly usable from straight out of PC or, you know, out of a mobile device. I don't know about a game controller, the 250 ohm though. That might be something you'd want to double check on. All right, so if you couldn't tell already, I really like these. I've tried, you know, half a dozen closed back headphones under $100, and these are the ones that I am going to keep. The rest of them I've either already sold, or I'm trying to sell, or I'm going to sell. So these are my picks right here. Now for me, I use an external microphone, so I don't need like a mic for a headset for gaming. I just use a USB mic. So that's not an issue for me. So these, to me, if you're getting a closed back headphone, I would nudge you in this direction. Even if you didn't quite want to spend this much money, these are $150 new, but you can find used ones all over the place for maybe like $120 or even $100. I'm a big fan of buying like used and open box. That's what these were. And I think if you were gonna spend, you know, $80 or $90 or up in that range, I would save just a little bit more and get these. I think would be my personal recommendation. Just so you can have some comparison here, I'm gonna go ahead and play a sound demo of these, which I recorded with binaural mics in my ears. And I'm gonna compare it to the Audio-Technica and the Cooler Masters, because those are kind of, the Audio-Technicas would be right in line with these, but the Cooler Masters would probably be my recommendation if you had to get something under $100 and you wanted a built-in mic. So I'm going to put those against this. So you need to wear you need to wear headphones for the sound demo, and you know, it's not perfect, but it should give you an idea of what the different sound signatures of these headphones are. And yeah, if you're interested in more sound demos, you could go to this link up here, and it's got like, I did all of them, so a whole bunch of different closed back sound demos that you can check out there. And I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Highly recommend the Beyerdynamic DT770s. My favorite closed back that I've tried so far. I think they've got a lot to offer, great build quality, an engaging and exciting sound, great sound stage, great imaging for gaming. So just an all around pretty decent headphone, especially if you can pick one up for a little over $100 like I did. So highly recommended. Gonna be keeping this one, and it'll be my go-to closed back headphone for the time being. If you found this helpful, feel free to drop a like down below. If you have any other questions regarding these or how it compares, it's something I didn't mention, feel free to put it in the comments section. If you're interested in more headphone audio related reviews, consider subscribing. I'm gonna have lots more to come here in the coming weeks. So, as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.
Don't feel alone in this world. The best is yet to come. Why focus on those bad times? This daylight is precious. See yourself as number one. Hold on to hope and never let him go. Your star is shining bright. There's something you should know. We rise and we fall. Don't feel alone in this world. The best is yet to come. Why focus on those bad times? This daylight is precious. See yourself as number one. Hold on to hope and never let him go. Your star is shining bright. There's something you should know. We rise and we fall. Don't feel alone in this world. The best is yet to come. Why focus on those bad times? This daylight is precious. See yourself as number one. Hold on to hope and never let him go. Your star is shining bright. There's something you should know. We rise and we fall. Don't feel alone in this world. The best is yet to come. Why focus on those bad times? This daylight is precious. See yourself as number one. Hold on to hope and never let him go. Your star is shining bright. There's something you should know. We rise and we fall.
I know I tried to make her mine, but at the same time, I know love is hard to find. I know I tried to make her mine, but at the same time, I know love is hard to find. I know I tried to make her mine, but at the same time, I know love is hard to find. I know I tried to make her mine, but at the same time, I know love is hard to find.
Baby, shine through and come and save me. I've been missing lady luck ever since she started hating. I've been waking up too early. I miss. I you and I. Hours, minutes, days and nights, trading all of our deadlines for conversations over wine. Killing time, you and I. In this moment we're alive, infatuated with your eyes and the way they look at mine when we're killing time. It feels killing time, you and I. Hours, minutes, days and nights, trading all of our deadlines for conversations over wine. Killing time, you and I. In this moment we're alive, infatuated with your eyes and the way they look at mine when we're killing time. Killing time, you and I. Hours, minutes, days and nights, trading all of our deadlines for conversations over wine. Killing time, you and I. In this moment we're alive, infatuated with your eyes and the way they look at mine when we're killing time. Killing time, you and I. Hours, minutes, days and nights, trading all of our deadlines for conversations over wine. Killing time, you and I. In this moment we're alive, infatuated with your eyes and the way they look at mine when we're killing time. Take a sip, you gon' trip. I'm like a cup of shroom tea in the morning. Coat your throat like hot honey. You gon' need water, then want some more of me. In your head, you gon' slip. I love on you, and then I leave you lonely. You want to get to know me. I'll agree in exchange for your soul, please, baby. Take a sip, you gon' trip. I'm like a cup of shroom tea in the morning. Coat your throat like hot honey. You gon' need water, then want some more of me. In your head, you gon' slip. I love on you, and then I leave you lonely. You want to get to know me. I'll agree in exchange for your soul, please, baby. Take a sip, you gon' trip. I'm like a cup of shroom tea in the morning. Coat your throat like hot honey. You gon' need water, then want some more of me. In your head, you gon' slip. I love on you, and then I leave you lonely. You want to get to know me. I'll agree in exchange for your soul, please, baby. Take a sip, you gon' trip. I'm like a cup of shroom tea in